Welcome back. We're dealing with outs and ins, cash management, and we're joined once again by Dale. I promise you Dale will be back, and as usual he's brought the sunshine. Isn't he aggravating? Hi Dale, how are you?
Good, Kerry, how are you?
Yeah, superb. Now you're going to help us with cash flow management. We've spoken over the previous series about lots of things in relation to cash flow. People should have a good handle on what they're doing. What we want to do now is see if we can pull it all together into a model that people can actually use themselves. We've spoken about this before a little bit on the periphery, but now we really want to see if we can nail it. Yep. But before we do that, tell me the story about people who you see who say, oh yeah, I save $200 a week.
Well, the big story is usually when you talk about how much they should have at the end of the year, they don't have anything, or they've got just $200 again. So what they're actually doing is deferring their spending for a while and then spending their income.
Yeah, and what do we call this sort of saving model?
Well, a seesaw effect or a deferred spending effect, because they get to a certain point where it might be 10 grand of savings, and what happens is they then spend it all. It might be on a holiday and things, which can be okay for a certain period of time, but if they've got a goal that I know we've talked about previously, they really need to focus on that and try to obviously not to defer the spending what they have been doing.
There's tension around money to my mind, so if people have got a lot of money, then the tension slackens and they tend to spend it. They find something to spend it on. And when things get tight, they tend to tighten up automatically. Do you find that frequently in the people you deal with?
Yeah, well, I guess people get comfortable. They see X amount in the bank account and then they know that they can go buy a certain thing and pay for a certain thing. But if they've only got $200 or $100, they really cut back on spending and they live off quite a lot less. So it's getting that balance in between. But you do find that when people have money issues, when it does get a bit tight, they can seem to find extra money or cut back on expenses, but when they know they've got that money in the bank, they really do just use it and spend it.
Yeah, and buy stuff they probably don't even need.
Yeah, which probably just sits around either in the cupboard or just sits at home not really getting used.
Now, I must admit my youth isn't too relevant to this, but when I was a kid I used to throw money on the dresser, and when I had enough I'd go and buy another car.
Okay,
I had lots of cars. My mum didn't like me too much for having cars all over the place, but it was what I enjoyed, certainly.
Yeah.
But so the money demands to be spent.
Yeah, you see it there, you know it's there, in the end it usually gets spent.
Yeah, so really we need a system to stop that from happening.
That's correct.
That's what we're trying to build now. Can you tell us a little bit about the system? And what we'll do is we'll get the slides that we're talking about and we'll get them up on the screen. So let's see if we can nail it and be reasonably specific.
Yep, well usually you have your income going into what's typically called a cash management account, and the reason why you can do that is it's usually low on fees and is able to transfer money back and forth without costing you any money, which is obviously a thing you want, because if you're dealing in cash, you're not really earning any growth on it, so you don't want to be losing your money on fees as well.
Okay, and we call that the hub.
Exactly right,
Yep.
The financial hub where the money goes into.
So that's the centre, and we throw it out in various places from there.
Yeah, and the various places we throw it out from can be then what we've got is a bills account. So for those lumpy or regular bills that you know are going to come in, so utility bills, gas, electricity, water, you know they're coming. They might be not for another 1 month, 2 months, but you have a rough estimate or idea of how much they'll be, so you can budget that over each pay. And the other account, I guess, is your everyday expenses, the ones that you know you're going to be paying for probably weekly, the groceries, the petrol, those type of items.
So can we be a bit more specific, Dale, in relation to those accounts?
Yeah, well I guess say if you've got your income going into the financial hub, then let's say you've got $100 a week going for your everyday expenses, which I've indicated could be groceries or living expenses, and then the $200 a week going to the bills account, which again for those lumpier expenses, the water, the gas, the electricity, which will probably be a bit more than that over time, but if you portion it to that account over a few months, you should have enough to cover it.
Okay, so we've got some excess. Where does that go? And what we're using that for?
Yeah, that'll be the $258 a week that we're saving, so we can either use it for savings, short-term goals could be a house deposit, for example, or if you've got accumulated debts via credit card, personal loan or a car loan, once that builds up you can use that to pay off your debts over time.
Okay, and where is the saving in this model?
Well, it depends. It'll be in the financial hub again,
yeah,
and in the cash management account. So again, we'll work on what goals are, and if they've debt repayments a goal, if it's savings, it stays in that financial hub.
Okay, so it might be normal to keep a reserve in the financial hub, but wouldn't we want to have somewhere dedicated for saving as well, do you think?
You can. It depends on how, I guess, sophisticated you want your finances to be, or if you want it a bit more simplified. So it's really up to the individual. If you want that separate account that you don't want to touch, but you know it's there building up, you can. Otherwise, if you're confident with managing your finances, keep it in the hub.
Okay, so what we've said is, hey, this is a model. it'll work for most people, but you make it work for yourself.
Yeah, you adapt it to your own personal lifestyle and how you think it best suits your finances, how often you get paid, what your expenses are.
Okay, so somebody at home who wants to create their wealth plan and they've got enough information, they're saying, okay, now we're going to do it.
Yep.
They've probably got a few accounts around. How many accounts will we need to set up for this, do you think?
You've nailed it on the head. It depends on what they've got set up already. You can utilise them in a way that we've already discussed by renaming and having specific purposes, or you can structure up 3 to 4 accounts, the financial hub or the cash management account being probably a critical one. Just depends on what you've got structured, and again comes back to what fees you might be charged, so you need to get in touch with your bank to see if they'll charge you for moving money around back and forth.
So typically then, a bank might charge a transfer fee for moving money around to all the various accounts, whereas a good cash management trust does that for nothing.
Yeah, when I began this process, just as I finished university quite a while ago now, I investigated it. The bank I was with was going to charge $10 per transfer, where I then moved it to a cash management account, no fees to transfer money back and forth. And you think $10 isn't a great deal, well, if you build that up over time, you'll find out that saving really does build up.
Well, you're going to have 3 transfers per pay. If you get paid fortnightly, that's 6 a month.
Yeah, exactly.
That's 60, and then 1260, that's $720. That's better off in your pocket, isn't it?
Yeah, and then debt repayment, house deposit, it all builds up.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so somebody trying to build a system like this probably should go out and get a new cash management account.
Yep.
But whatever other accounts they do, they need to rename and use for that purpose.
Yeah, specific purposes, specific accounts, so you know what it's for, rather than what the everyday person usually has is one account, living expenses, bills accounts, everything. It just gets too muddy, and it's a bit difficult to really know what money you've got and where it's going.
Anything else simple, Dale?
Oh, look, just continually manage your money. Don't just set and forget, always review.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Dale. I'm not sure whether we want more sunshine, but we probably won't be seeing you now till the next series. But you'll definitely be back with us.
I appreciate it, Kerry.
No worries. Look, Dale is really a source of knowledge, which is why we use him. He's young and he's in touch with stuff. This concept's been a little bit more structured than usual in the advisor debate, but that's because it's so important. You need to really think about getting a structure like this, because then it makes your finances dead easy to use. Okay, thank you very much. We'll see you after the break. We're having a reverse interview and Fiore is joining us. See you then.